What is going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to show you guys exactly how I scaled my trading client from $0 to $100,000 in cash collected in just a 7-day time frame. I'm not going to hold back anything. I'm going to show you guys exactly what we did and what levers we pulled to actually be able to produce this cash. So you can see we have two dashboards here. You can see the high ticket dashboard, low ticket dashboard. You can see in the last 7 days, June 16th to June 22nd. June 16th to June 22nd. So with this dashboard here, this is just our downsell off the application. So every single lead that comes through the funnel will get pushed to a downsell page if they are, not financially qualified. Actually optimizing for ascension. The three biggest things, behind this offer and how this launch was actually able to be produced was it was $0 in ad spend. This was a completely organic launch. Okay, the only platforms that we utilized was YouTube long form and Instagram short form. Okay, with these two, we were really able to produce the content that we needed to produce to be able to hype up this launch and build trust so that on launch day and past launch day, we were able to convert and execute. Okay, this is also in the trading niche. So this, offer launch was for one of my, trading clients. Trading info is something that I specialize in. If you've been following me for a long time, I used to have my own trading mentorship before I started helping other, traders and e-com guys scale their info. So this is something that has come natural to me, and this was really, really easy for me to put in the right systems and build the right marketing. This was also a super, super lean team. Like I said, I just gave a huge shout out to my sales manager because, I'm gonna say it again, without him, bro, this wouldn't be possible. But we operated with a super lean team. With info, you don't really need a massive team. I think that's where a lot of people mess up, is they try and build this massive team for no reason, and it's just everything gets unorganized and cluttered, and it's just not realistic. What we had on this offer was a sales manager, setters and closers, and me and the creator. That is what we needed to be able to produce these results. I run done-for-you growth operations for coaching offers, whether that's traders, e-com guys, real estate, whatever it is, and I implement all of my systems. So that's funnels, VSLs, emails, SMS sequences, sales teams, and then back-end infrastructure that actually takes a coach from inconsistent scales to a predictable system. Because I guarantee that's exactly what you're struggling with, and why you're watching this video is because you have not been able to crack, consistent sales and be able to scale your mentorship to 100K cash in 7 days. I'm building and running the machine that gets your offer to 6 figures and beyond. And so the reason why I'm making this video, and my essentially promise to you, in this video, I'm going to show you guys exactly what's worked for me. That's all I'm going to show you guys, exactly what worked for me, the systems and infrastructure that took this coaching offer to 100K CC in just 7 days. Okay, I'm not here to sell you anything. I want to make that very, very clear. I'm just documenting what happened, what's useful, and how you can apply it to your program to scale to 6-figure months, okay, without having to run ads or fail until you get the right funnel, right? I think that's the most important part. Is I'm just going to show you guys exactly how you can do this organically and be able to produce these types of numbers. And the first thing that I want to actually start with is what most coaches get wrong and what I actually stayed for and what my team actually stayed away from to be able to get the results that we wanted to get. We sat down and said, okay, I wrote these things down and I had a talk with my team and said, okay, we have to stay away from these things if we want to be able to scale. And this is exactly what a lot of people do wrong and why they can't actually get to scale and get the results they want to get. It's like random posting to get views. That's the number one thing that people get wrong. And this is something that I, had messed up for so long, is to stop trying to go for views. You still want to be able to get content that's going to be able to hit, your ICP, but you can't go for, I'm telling you, if you try and appear as a guru online, nobody's going to buy from you. Okay? You cannot post lifestyle with the Lambos and everything like that. People don't buy from people like that. So stop posting random, hoping something hits. Right? You always have to put the time into the production of your videos. I just spelled that wrong. The production of your videos to be able to actually get the results and attract the ICP and bring qualified leads. And so what we did is we built a content system built specifically, to build trust. That's what we aimed for, was build trust and also at the same time be able to hype up this new offer before we launch. So every single post had a job on our organic content system. We're building an ecosystem to be able to build max trust. Okay, when you're able to do that, you can get positive results. The second thing that a lot of people skip, and this is, if you watch my videos, you know that I take time to actually execute on the market research. This is so important. You have to be able to understand who you're selling to at a very high level, because if you can understand their pain and understand exactly what their goal is, you can create this offer that's the bridge. So your offer is the bridge to get them from their pain to their goal. And the only way that you can do that is through good market research. And so I always take this very, very seriously. And most coaches guessed what their audience wants. And we did the exact opposite, okay? I did extensive market research first, so we knew exactly what our ICP needed to hear in order to convert. So we understand the conversion mechanism, which is what? The offer, because that is the bridge from their pains to their goals. And when you can understand that, you can sell the shit out of anything, right? Another thing, this is something that I've actually done in the past, is rushing launches. You never want to rush a launch, and this is something where a lot of people get money hungry and they're like, okay, we got to launch this quick. Like, I'm just trying to make this cash, okay? Don't do that. If you rush your launch, a lot of you guys will just compress your launch into a few days and hope for urgency, right? Like, hey, get it before it's gone. I'm only going to promo this for a couple days. It's going to fuck it up so bad. We ran a longer launch on purpose, okay? And this actually gave us enough time to warm leads up. So by launch day, they were actually ready to buy. So we actually ran about a 15-day launch. So this was about a 2-week launch. And we carefully crafted this to be able to build maximum trust. So I'm not even kidding. These leads were foaming at the mouth. Foaming at the mouth by the time we launched. I'm not even kidding. I think our first deal was a 10K PIF. Super easy, right? And when you do that, you can get, the results of, a 10K pay in full, right? This is exactly why we got the results that we got. And if you want to be able to see exactly how all of this comes together, watch to the end of this video, because I'm going to give you everything that you need on your next launch to be able to get the results that you actually want to get. So what we'll be covering is we're going to go over the team and the launch outline. Okay, what team you need to have and the launch outline you can use and the ones that we used. And then also how to conduct market research to be able to find your ICP and create content around that. And then once you have that, the right content system to actually run to be able to, attract your ICP, and then also the back end and sales systems. So the sales systems that we actually use to be able to get the results that we wanted to get. So starting here with the team. So the team that I have working with me is my sales manager. Again, an absolute GOAT. Shout out to Gavin. So he oversaw the entire sales process end to end. Okay, managing the setters and closers and also training them, right? He took the time to actually train these people and hold them accountable. Okay, this guy, this guy is literally always going at all times, and that's exactly why our setters and closers were able to perform on launch and also pre-launch, okay? It was because he took the time to actually hold these people accountable. And if you don't have a sales manager that's going to hold your reps accountable, you need to go and find someone else, okay? And so he was able to, train and also hold the setters and closers accountable, tracking their performance and making sure the leads move through the pipeline the way they were supposed to without falling through the cracks. Having a sales manager is super important so that you can actually have your time back to be able to work on the marketing, okay? Also, we had DM setters and phone setters. Super important. A lot of people treat their setters like shit, and that's exactly why they don't fucking make shit. Okay, setters make this whole shit move, and once you start understanding that and you start treating them and giving them the resources that they need to actually succeed, is when you're actually going to start collecting cash. Okay, and so the setters handled the front end relationships building. Okay, you'll see later when I kind of get into this launch outline in a second how important building trust was in the relationships, and setters played a massive role in that. Okay, sliding into DMs, nurturing leads, qualifying them, and then booking them onto calls so that the closers could focus purely on closing, right? Closer took leads from setters and ran the actual sales conversations, okay, handling objections and closing the deal, right? Hopping on that sales presentation. And like my whole goal and my whole philosophy, how I know I'm kind of doing my job is like, how can I just make my closer's life as easy as possible so he just has fucking smackdowns, right? Just easy piffs, easy cash, right? So now kind of talking about this launch system. So we did a 15-day launch. I'm going to give you guys the exact outline that we actually used to be able to do this, and you guys can replicate this as well. So days 1 to 3, we essentially, the whole goal of this was just to nurture these leads to be able to raise their buying intent and their trust. Okay, that's the number one thing. If you can just get people to know, like, and trust you, they will buy from you and they will hand you their credit cards. Okay, so we pushed free lead magnets and templates, and we offered that through comment CTAs and DM CTAs on ManyChat. Okay, so we were the main freebie that we ran a bunch of different ones to keep them fresh. But the main one we ran was a trading checklist. So it was a checklist of the strategy saying, hey, you need to check off this, and then you can actually take that trade. And so what that does is those people are using that every day. And when they win using the checklist, what do you think happens? Boom. More trust, right? And so to pull people into those DMs, like I said, once they were in, setters are nurturing and building a relationship early before any pitch was on the table, literally talking to them like a normal person. Because again, in the DMs, you're acting as the creator, and they eat it up. B2C eats it up. They love it. Okay, and so that's the number one thing that you can leverage there, and that we leveraged was the DMs. Okay, days 4 and 5 was the tease. Okay, we shifted into Instagram stories, and also we leveraged free Discord announcements. His free Discord was pretty big, and so that was a big lever for us to pull. And so hinting that a new program was coming. Okay, no details or anything. We were just hinting, saying, hey, like, I'm working, sleepless nights on a new program for you guys to get you from X to your goal, right? That's what we were kind of teasing. Okay, this is the program and this is the results it's going to get, but we didn't really tell them what was inside. We didn't tell them launch date or anything like that. On day 6 is when we announced, okay, the day that the new program was going to announce, and we drove all the traffic into an interactive wait list. Not a wait list where you just sign up and you get emails. That shit is burnt. Do not do that. Your launch is going to flop. I'm telling you, you need to do more than that, okay? Buyers are getting more sophisticated. You have to create ways to get them in a confined space and just push this propaganda. Okay, propaganda is just controlling a narrative. If you can control the narrative, you will always win. Okay, and so we pushed them into a confined space where we controlled the entire experience. Okay, and what that was a Discord called the Prep Room. Okay, so we created a prep room where all the waitlist people. So if in order to get in this prep room, you had to sign up for the waitlist. Once you signed up for the waitlist, you got popped into the prep room. We gave them free material, so more freebies. Live trading sessions and Q&A classes were live in there as well. And so what does that do? Builds trust. We were also able to post what? We were also able to post announcements inside of this prep room, which controlled the narrative. Okay, reminders when it was going to launch, different things that they needed to think, right? And then, everything lived in there, which gave us a reason to actually keep people engaged while we pushed the promo as hard as possible and got what we wanted without feeling like a hard sell, right? So we were able to really, push the promo heavy inside of the prep room because we're giving them so much free shit, right? We're because here's the mechanism you have to go off of. It's like give, take. And so day 15 was the launch. And I mean, day 15 we fucking killed it, bro. Like, we absolutely crushed it. We ended up doing a 50K day. And so it was flawless because we just took the time to really take the pre-launch process serious, right? And on day 15 the doors opened and we started dialing the wait list and accepting inbound leads. So, but the only way that I was actually able to create that launch outline, and it may look different for you, depending on what you get from the market research. Before I built out any of this launch outline or hired the team, it was market research. This is where you should always start. And so how I did market research was basically, before writing, like I said, a single piece of content or copy, I pulled 4 sources to figure out exactly what this audience needed in order to convert. That's the whole goal. What do they need to actually buy? Because what's the whole goal is to fucking print cash. And so the only sense you should be looking is, what do I need to give them in order for them to actually trust me and buy? So the first thing that I looked at, so student application forms. Super important. So essentially what a student onboarding form is, every single time that you close a new student, you send them this onboarding form, and it basically, to get a gist of it, it's like, okay, why did you actually choose me instead of somebody else? What made you buy the program, right? And so he didn't actually have a student onboarding form, and he really didn't have a big student clientele because we basically took him from 0. He made 4K the past month, right? So I had 4K worth of students to kind of work with, and he was selling low ticket, so I didn't really have much to work with. But basically, what I did get from him is told us why they bought, okay, what they liked about his content, his first impression, and then why they actually booked the call. Okay, that showed us, okay, what was already working, and then the language and then the hooks was created from that, and we essentially doubled down on what was already working and then just added the things that we needed to make it the marketing actually better, right? So the second thing that we did was we posted story polls on Instagram, and so we just asked this audience, okay, what their main goals were and what their main pains were, okay? We ran these polls directly asking about their goals and their pains, okay? And that gave us a direct line into what people were struggling with and what they actually wanted, okay? And again, the offer was the bridge of that. And so we were actually able to collect a lot of data from his Instagram audience to be able to create this content around, okay? And then and the story sequences mainly, right? And so straight from the audience, instead of just guessing, what traders' pains are, what their goals are, right? Going into it, I already had a little bit of an understanding because of my background, but we always want to pull it from, each audience is different, right? And then also YouTube comments. He's really, really big on YouTube. This is a long form creator. And so the comments showed us a bunch of different things, right? The main two being what content people wanted more of, so we were able to post that during pre-launch. And then also the specific questions they had about the strategy itself, so we were able to actually pre-handle those questions, right? This told us exactly where the confusion and curiosity was so that we could clarify it in the launch content so that there was no question marks about the strategy. They understood the strategy and understood how it could take them from their pain all the way to their goal, right? So that's where we were able to get out of the YouTube comments. Okay, and so how this actually built the marketing was once I was able to interpret the data, once I knew what they needed to hear, every single piece of this launch was built around it. Okay, that's really all it is. Just understanding what they need to hear in order to convert. The hooks came from what I'd already converted on the application forms, what made them apply. So we asked on the application form, or on the onboarding form, what made you apply? Okay, we can just push that in the hooks to get more people to apply. Okay. Also, the angles that came from the pains and the goals, right? The educational content came straight from the questions people were already asking in the comments, right? So everything about this launch, and obviously we did more stuff, but this is just what I'm posting in a YouTube video. This is just a YouTube video. I can't fit everything in here. If I was gonna fit everything in here, it'd be like a 15-hour video. And simply put, I just don't want to film a 15-hour video. But that's essentially how the three of the things helped me build out the marketing. So now kind of talking about the content system once I was actually able to interpret and understand the market research I was able to do. On YouTube, we posted a lot of trade recaps and also result videos, okay? And so that actually showed the track record, which is super, super important, okay? How much is he actually making and is he actually legit, right? Because trust, if you're a trader, if you're a trading coach, that trust is such a lack of trust in the trading industry, so many frauds. And so what we did to build more credibility was just showing more of the track record through trade recaps and result videos, okay? And so we just built as much credibility as we possibly could. From there we funneled viewers to Instagram for the free lead magnet in the DMs so that we could nurture. Okay, so we actually we created this ecosystem, right, from YouTube all the way to IG, because there is no DM mechanism on YouTube. So we just pushed it into Instagram so that we could start, again, that nurturing that they needed. Okay, and so, again, from the lead magnets, then we funneled them to the waitlist, right? So everything's working in a line. And so you can see some of the thumbnails here. So one of the result videos we posted, we said, okay, fuck it, handing you the strategy that changed my life. $10 million in profits at 22. That got $14,000 14,000 views. I fully scripted this video for him. I gave him the title. I essentially gave him everything about this video. All he had to do was film it, and we ended up producing 14,000 views from it. Okay, looking here, we did a trade recap, making $21,000 in front of 320 people live trading for free. So this was a part of the prep room, as a live trading, and all these people were in the prep room. We recorded it and we posted it, which drove a fuck ton of more waitlist leads. Right? So you see that? So we actually showed, okay, this is what's been going on in the waitlist. Join it so you don't miss out. And you can also make, X dollar amount trading with me, because I made 21K today. Instagram was obviously really, really important as well. So what we did on Instagram is we used short form content for trade recaps. So we clipped up the trade recaps to build, again, more trust and authority on short form, and then to pull in the right ICP fast, because we don't want to post lifestyle content because that's not our ICP. The demographic on here for this creator is like 25 to 35, so it's a much more mature audience, because he's more mature, right? And so once we had the attention, we pushed free templates and guides as lead magnets on Instagram, from the stories, from the YouTube, from the reels into the DMs, which obviously gave people more of a reason to come to the DMs using the lead magnet, right? And from there, again, setters picked up the relationship, while IG stories and the link in bio drove the rest of the audience straight to the waitlist. And so there was always kind of a barrier in front of the waitlist so that we could actually get qualified leads to the waitlist, because an issue that a lot of people run into is they just have shit people joining the waitlist because they don't have any friction. Okay, friction is fine, guys, right? Because the more friction you have, the more qualified lead you're going to get. And so you want to have the perfect amount of friction, especially with a waitlist, something that's free, right? And also another thing we did, we had a qualifying question on the waitlist application. So we actually asked how much they actually have to invest. And the reason why we did that is so that the setters could dial an order on waitlist day, which I'll talk about in a second. But here is kind of the content that we were able to produce: 15K, 35K, 12K, 14K, 40K. Fucking insane views. And again, why this worked was the long form built the trust and the short form built the reach. Okay, those two combined was really easy to drive waitlist signups, quality waitlist signups. Okay, together they fed the same system from two different angles, with everything funneling into the DMs or the waitlist where the actual nurturing happened. So normally what I would do next is kind of break down the exact back-end systems and kind of what the funnel actually looked like. This would just take me way too long if I was able to break down this entire thing. So if you do if you do have any questions, you want to know exactly what this funnel looked like, you can DM me the word funnel on Instagram, and I will explain this entire back-end launch and answer any questions that you do have. But so getting into the back-end and sales systems, everything that we did, kind of on the back-end and sales systems on launch day. Okay, so specifically launch day. Basically, what we did on launch day is the morning of launch day, I sent out an SMS blast. So what this did is it increased the pickup rate like no other. If I wouldn't have done this, it definitely would have hurt the pickup rate of the waitlist. So the morning of the waitlist, we sent an SMS blast to the entire waitlist to kick everything off and let them know they're going to move towards, booking. Okay, so what this SMS blast essentially did was tell them that, the setters that we're going to be reaching out to them in the morning. Okay, so be ready and have your phone on, ringer on, and be ready to pick up that call. Okay, and so that was super important and beneficial for the pickup rate to be able to get all those waitlist leads actually qualified and book on a call. So the setters dialed the waitlist. Okay, so setters got to work dialing the waitlist before 4 p.m. because that's when 4 p.m. Eastern is when we actually launched. And so the booking calls for the days ahead. This wasn't a cold dial. The waitlist had already been tagged from warmest to coldest throughout the week since the setters had been nurturing them through the entire time leading up into the launch. I cannot stress you guys how important having your setters actually stay in contact with the waitlist, throughout the week. Okay, so what we did, we had two different touch points throughout the week to keep these leads, warm and actually understanding who the setters are. So obviously we had certain leads assigned to certain setters, but basically what we did was just checkups in terms of, the creator said, hey, Will banked this morning, right? He banked this morning. He made plus 21K. Did you see? Right? And then we'd respond. So that's just a good check-in while still giving them value. And then, on launch day, we're able to prioritize who to call first. So hottest leads all the way to coldest leads, right? So public launch opened at 4 p.m. I don't know why this is 5. But at 4 p.m., we opened up booking to general public. We launched. We did the launch day promotions, stuff like that. And the waitlist had already been given priority access. We locked in their spots before public ever even got access. I can tell you, the calendar was fucking full. Oh my goodness. And then, as far as closing week, so the rest of the week was just spent closing and running calls back to back. We're still obviously ripping right now. And both waitlist and public bookings came in. And that's exactly how we were able to generate over $100,000 in cash collected in just 7 days through organic content. If you guys do have any questions, feel free to watch this video back as many times as possible and really soak up this information. If you do want direct access to me to ask questions about this launch, you can DM me on Instagram, the word funnel on Instagram, and I'll make sure to answer any questions that you do have about this launch or anything to scale your coaching business to 6 figures and beyond. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you go and watch the other content on my channel. Like, subscribe, comment down below what video you want to see next. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.